completed your post-licensing education yet? Look, I know you're probably thinking, hey, it's not my renewal deadline, I don't need to do post-licensing yet, but look, here's why you want to do post-licensing as soon as you've got your real estate license, as soon as you're able to take post-licensing. It's not just another course about arbitrary laws that you're never going to use again. It's about real-world, usable topics that'll help you grow your real estate business, to help you take it to the next level. Look, let me ask you this one question. If this course helps you close just one deal, if you get one extra deal from post-licensing, is it worth the investment? I'd say it is. We get paid pretty well, so one deal means a lot of money. Check out postflorida.com. That's postflorida.com for the full details about post-licensing. State of real estate. Every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time. Grow your real estate business. You're watching State of Real Estate. Going on. It is 12 noon on Friday. Happy Friday, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of State of Real Estate. My name is John Charisma. The show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate. We're here every Friday, 12 noon Eastern Time, to help you mastermind to grow your real estate business. And we do a lot of episodes about, when you're starting from scratch and you haven't done any transactions yet. And that always seems like it's the most difficult thing, to get your first sale. But then, eventually it happens and you realize, oh, well, that actually wasn't that hard. But now that crucial next step from going from an agent that could sell a couple of properties a year to an agent that could have a consistent flow of closings is using your transactions to get more transactions, using your sales to get more sales. The publicity and marketing of what activity you have is so essential to growing your real estate business. So that's what we're talking about today. I'm really excited to bring this episode to you. I'm John Charisma. You're watching State of Real Estate.
You are watching
State of Real Estate. Every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time. Grow your real estate business. You're watching State of Real Estate. And welcome back to this week's episode of State of Real Estate, where we're talking about how to turn sales into more sales. And without even getting into any of the technical kind of marketing stuff we're going to be talking about, I mean, one of the biggest things you want to try to capitalize when you start making progress is momentum. Probably not spelling that right, whatever. Momentum. What is the purpose of momentum? Momentum is to help propel you forward. It's the whole idea of an object at rest stays at rest. An object in motion stays in motion. If you don't have any sales yet, you're at rest. And you're trying to do everything you can to break free from the inertia to be able to start moving. But when you look at physics, once an object starts to move, it's able to move easier, faster. It's able to gain this whole concept of momentum. And that's the same thing you want to capitalize on in your business. Once you start making progress towards your goal, yes, you want to celebrate that. I mean, that's huge to get your first sale, your first closing. But you've already got to be thinking about, okay, how do you use this transaction to get you even more transactions? And what this does is this helps in your mind to push the finish line farther down the road. Because the finish line for you absolutely isn't selling one property. That's like when you see these people run these marathon races and they have like these water tables every so often, these little stands, these little stops, these pit stops. You watch NASCAR, the cars have to take a pit stop every so often to be able to continue their greater journey to make it to that final finish line. So your first sale, yes, that's a huge milestone, but that's not the end of the journey for you. You didn't get your real estate license to sell just one single property. You got your real estate license to build a real estate empire, or some version of that. And to get to that point, you want to turn this little bit into something much bigger. And to get it to spiral out of control, as you might have heard that expression, or to go viral. These are just other words for momentum. So momentum's all about accelerating, adding fuel to the fire, trying to grow what it is that you're doing. Now back to that concept of celebrating your sale. Now, you do want to celebrate your sale, but when I say celebrate, I don't mean go take your whole commission check and go buy yourself something nice because you earned it. You haven't earned anything yet. You only sold one property. Once you've got a thriving real estate business, then you can start to really reward yourself with these expensive, luxurious things that you may want or that may make your life easier, or maybe it just puts a smile on your face, whatever the reason may be. But before you could get to that, to whatever the bright, shiny objects it is that you want to be able to acquire, you've got to build this system so you know, because here's the problem. Here's the problem with spending all of that entire commission check. You go dump all that money that you just made into some new car or bills, or it might not even be something fancy. You might just be saying, oh, I should really pay off some of this debt. And so you take this money that you just had come in and you then have it go towards these other things, whether it is, something fun or just paying down bills or whatever the case may be. You're not reinvesting in your business at that point. And in order to achieve momentum, you need to constantly be reinvesting into your business, because if you're not constantly reinvesting to your business, instead of growing bigger, you start to grow smaller. So just like you could use momentum to grow bigger, momentum, as you lose momentum, causes you to grow smaller. And that's why you want to constantly reinvest in your business so you don't end up getting smaller, you end up growing bigger than before. So specifically back to today's topic of using your sales activity, your current sales, to gain more sales. And again, back to that concept of celebrating your first sale. The celebration isn't about treating yourself. The celebration is, yes, look what I've done. I've accomplished something in my real estate business. I need to share this with the world. When you see companies, look at especially big companies, whether it's Elon Musk and Tesla and SpaceX, they command headlines all the time. Google occasionally. Apple is phenomenal at commanding headlines and announcing when they've got some breakthrough or some big new thing. And especially if you're not an Apple fan, you might say, oh, well, their breakthroughs aren't really that much of a breakthrough. Exactly. Sometimes it's just small little things. But when you expose these smaller things as one of the core principles as to why your business is superior to others, that's very powerful marketing wise. And that's kind of what we're going to be talking about doing, using your sales to get more sales. And now you might not even have a sale yet. You might not even have a sale yet. Maybe you've just got your first listing. And even though it's not sold yet, you could capitalize on these events. And I don't mean events gathering people around, I mean milestones of the transaction. So you've got probably at the earliest coming soon. And then you've got just listed. And then you've got open house. Then you've got under contract. Then you've got sold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different events. And we could break this down probably even more. I didn't put price reduction up here because that's maybe not the best thing to celebrate, because that probably means you overpriced. Well, if you're reducing the price, it definitely means you overpriced it from the beginning, at least for the amount of level of marketing and exposure you're gaining for that property. But that's not quite as powerful and positive as these events here. And you're in control of this. You get to be the one who decides which events that you're disseminating, because you're the one originating this information. You're the one paying for the advertising, for whether you're going to send out a postcard or do a Google ad or a Facebook ad, run a YouTube ad. There's so many ways to literally just spend money and be able to put your message in front of almost anyone it is that you desire, especially when you dial in a farm area type of strategy. If you haven't seen our videos on farming and marketing and advertising, definitely check out some of our previous State of Real Estate episodes. So we've got these different events when, especially on the listing side. On the listing side, you're going to have these ones here. On the sales side, you really just have those two items there. So, and we did was it just this Wednesday we were just talking about listings? I know we talk about listings all the time, but I think Wednesday we were talking specifically about listings and gaining inventory. And this is why, because now you've gotten more events to market, because you don't send out an advertisement with a picture of your buyer that says, hey, coming soon, they might want to buy your house. It's kind of weird. But when you've got a new property for sale, you could send that out and market and advertise that and say, hey, look what we've got coming soon. It's not on the market yet, but we're about to list it. And this works really well because you could just get a good picture of the front of the property and use that as the coming soon, not having the rest of the photographs of the property. And what that would allow you to do is, you know, if you've got a decent enough camera phone, or maybe you even own a digital camera or something yourself, you could take a pretty decent picture of the outside probably. Most of us could do that even just with like an iPhone or something, just take a decent picture of the outside. That's usually pretty easy to do with a cheaper camera without having any high-end professional equipment or anything like that. And so if you are going to use a professional photographer, you could still have them come in and shoot the rest of the property, which I definitely would recommend that. But you could use your iPhone or whatever just to get yourself a little snippet to be able to advertise coming soon. And that's when you first get this listing agreement that, yes, we want to list the property for sale. Usually when that happens, where you've got a seller committing to listing a property with you, you're not listing it right there that day. It's usually preparation going into this, preparation for the photos, taking the photos, preparing everything for the listing, and then launching that on a specific day to maximize exposure. So you might have a week or so of time between when you get that listing agreement signed and when the property actually hits the market. And what this allows you to do is almost have like a little bit of a marketing blitz to build some hype around the coming soon portion of this, and then confirm the hype that, hey, it's here, it's available, it's just listed, and then you could really hit it with another one. Yeah, we've also got an open house going on. And you could literally send these weeks apart. 1 week, second week, third week. You might even want to do these even quicker, because right now a lot of properties in the Tampa Bay area are selling a lot faster than 3 weeks. So you might not even have 3 weeks to be able to market this here. And you might say, well, John, isn't that, if you're paying to do marketing on this, now there's other ways to do this, but the most effective way is to actually spend money on marketing to do this. And if you're looking to start spending money on marketing, this is how I would recommend to do it, especially if you have a listing. This is almost bombardment. If you're sending somebody 3 pieces of marketing within 3 weeks, and that's what might tell a lot of people to say, oh, I shouldn't do that much advertising. I shouldn't do that much because it's going to cost me too much money. They're going to get sick of seeing my ads and all these other things, that people will talk themselves out of it. And because they're talking themselves out of spending money, they're like, okay, yeah, that's a good decision. Now, if you're buying one of those fancy, cars, planes, helicopters, houses, something that is, optional and a luxury item, in those cases, it might be good to talk yourself out of spending that money. But when you're talking about making an investment, if you're making an investment, that's not the time to talk yourself out of spending the money, because you're not spending the money, you're investing the money. As long as you're going to get a positive return on your investment, that is a very good use of your money. And this is why this is going to give you a much more positive outcome from your advertising efforts, is because you're really doing like a marketing blitz. You're ensuring that the people that you're trying to reach, and that's part of this as well, going back to that farm area concept, is you want to make sure these ads are targeting the same people, that it targets your same farm area, so that way you can kind of build this blitz here. Now, yes, this does cost money. If you're paying for advertising to do this, if you're sending out postcards, yeah, you could just send out 1 postcard, and that's going to cost you 1/3 of the price of sending out 3 postcards. But sending out 3 postcards is much more likely to gain you business. You're sending out much more ripples into this neighborhood by doing this 3 times. Imagine you're throwing little pebbles in a pond. You throw 1 pebble in a pond and you're going to see some ripples, but then what happens? The ripples fade away. You throw a second pebble in there, ripples again. You throw a third pebble in there, ripples again. And then what happens when you're throwing these pebbles one after another? You really get a lot more activity. And it's the same concept with you advertising to this particular audience. When they see your message repeatedly, it registers in their mind. People see thousands of advertisements every single day. And so if you're not using repetition and frequency, you're going to miss out on a lot of business, and your marketing dollars are not going to have as good of a return on investment. So this is actually where spending more money on your advertising, if you're doing this correctly, can actually increase your return on investment, where you're essentially doubling down on this here. You're going to have a higher likelihood that you get business from this here, because come next week, they might remember you from the first week. And if they didn't remember you from the first week, maybe the third week, then they'll remember you. That's the whole name of the game here, is trying to create memory in our customers' minds, trying to make sure they know who we are and that we could help them. And this is why this is such a powerful way to advertise, is because I've seen a lot of advertisements of realtors talking about themselves, and it makes me puke in my mouth a little bit, just because it's always the same stuff. It's always trying to mention how they're trustworthy and honest and blah, 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 a bunch of crap that no one even knows whether or not they can believe it. Because, you know, everybody doubts everything now in 2020. So rather than just talking about yourself, because honestly, even if they could trust all that information, they don't really care about you. They're not interested in finding the perfect realtor. They're interested in finding the perfect home. You're just a step along that process. So what you'd rather do, rather than talk about yourself and bore them to death, you want to talk about what you're doing in real estate. So that way they could see that you just don't talk the talk, you actually walk the walk. A lot of people have had experience in the past with real estate professionals that were less than professional. And that stigma carries over into future experiences. So you don't know with a client if they might have some sort of trauma in their past or their previous real estate agent that is making them not want to trust you, making them wonder if you're really genuine. But showing them that you actually do business shows that other people are willing to trust you, to do business with them. So when they see other people trusting you, they're more likely to trust you as well. That's why reviews are so important in 2020, and testimonials and so on and so forth, which granted, again, the same thing of questioning how genuine that information is. Whereas when you have the activity to back it up, everything starts to not look so transparent and start to look much more real. Things start to say, oh, well, they must really do have all those reviews. They must really do help a lot of people because, look, they have properties. And when you're sending them properties, that's a much more interesting thing to them than a picture of yourself usually. Most of the time, they'd rather that you're more likely to capture their attention with a breathtaking picture of a property as opposed to just some random picture of some guy or some girl. Now, like I said, for this, you might just use a little camera phone picture until you get everything ready for the listing. But then when you go to do just listed, to send out another one with that, hey, this just hit the market, then you maybe use one of the photos from your photographer, if you're having a photographer come out there, because that's probably going to look a lot better than the picture you took on your camera phone, and it's going to look slightly different. Enough of the same, because it's the same house, but now you're presenting it maybe in a different light. And by showing them that same image, just slightly different, that might jog their memory from the previous week of what they saw in last week's image. And they might not remember this at all, but for some reason, this image speaks to them. And it's just because they don't remember this image in the past that they had a week ago from that previous advertisement, because they're probably not going to remember this advertisement at all. And so then you hit them with that third week, and that's where they really kind of start to put things together. And then once you go under contract, like I said, if your property's going under contract quickly, maybe it's within a month. I mean, you might be sending out this under contract even sooner than 4 weeks out. But every listing you would get, I would do marketing like this to your farm area. It doesn't necessarily even need to be in the same neighborhood where this listing is. You just want to reach out to your farm area, the area it is that you're advertising to, and this gives you an opportunity to show them, hey, look what I did, look what I did, look what I did, look what I did, look what I did. And they see that enough. They're like, oh, wow, I guess you do know what you're doing in real estate. Wow, you sell a lot of real estate. I get your postcards. I get your Facebook ads. I get your YouTube ads all the time about all the real estate you sell. I've got some real estate to sell. Can you help me? Wow, look at that. You've got customers lining up for business for you. Now, it doesn't quite happen that quickly, but this over time will occur. This is ultimately the end goal that you're trying to cultivate. And it's really, that's where we've talked about when you're advertising and why I don't recommend advertising right away to start your real estate business. Prospecting is usually a much better way to start with your real estate business, just because with advertising, there's the whole budgeting concept of this as well, because you have to spend money when you're advertising. And that money may be in limited supply. And if that money is in limited supply and you don't have the staying power with your advertising, then the advertising you're doing up until you stop advertising is money that's going to waste, because the moment you stop advertising and you stop, your messaging stops getting in front of the audience you're trying to build the memory with, to build the connection, to build the relationship with your brand, as you step away from them, they're going to forget about you. Remember that whole spiraling thing? You spiral, yes, to get momentum, but that momentum will die off if you start to ignore this audience. And so that's why you want to use these as opportunities. These are very simple. And this is very duplicatable, because every listing that you have, you could literally rattle off each of these 5 events that occur once it goes under contract, then once it gets sold. So let's say, we'll give it maybe 30 days for closing. So we'll say like 8 weeks out is when it gets sold. But now we've hit them with 5 different ads in the matter of about probably 3 months or so. And that's not even that saturated of advertising, just for 5 times in the matter of 3 months. So again, this is just part of the process. Maybe you have some sort of neighborhood newsletter, or you're sending out a monthly value report that basically updates you on what the value of your home is. You'd be surprised how many homeowners don't always know the value of their property. And there's a lot that's been changing in the real estate market, especially here in the Tampa Bay area. So values have changed recently. And homeowners might not know about that. Yes, they could look it up online, but have they? Has anybody else reached out to them with a personalized report of what their property might be worth? Maybe every so often, every 6 months or once a year, you do a more personalized, detailed report, and then every other month you just send out like a more automated valuation. Look, this is up to you. This is where you could be creative. This is where you can kind of test things out and figure out what works and really gain yourself a competitive advantage over your competition, and figure out what type of marketing works best at gaining you a better relationship with your clients. So that's how you use sales to get more sales. And we could really go even step by step to, designing this. As a matter of fact, we have before on our episodes of State of Real Estate. So if you're a loyal watcher of State of Real Estate, you've probably seen some of the stuff where we talk about sending out these just sold or under contract postcards, how to design them, nice big picture of the property and things like that. But the whole idea here is just this concept of using your sales. And so if you haven't sold anything yet, you want to go into this with that concept that, okay, I'm going to use this sale to get me even more sales. And again, now see how you've pushed the finish line back. Your finish line isn't just getting that one sale now. You know what the next step is. Okay, I need to try to use this sale to spin off into more sales. And then you use those sales to spin off into even more sales. And the more it is that you do this, you can kind of imagine how this starts to look like, okay, here's one sale that you maybe get 2 sales from. And then from those 2 sales, each of those gets you another 2 sales. And then from those 2 sales, each of those gets you another 2 sales. And see how we've gone from just one sale turning into 2, 4, 6, 8 different sales. And this process continuing as you continue to build this momentum. And again, notice how this is growing or crescendoing here. So that's, again, the name of the game, using your sales, using your activity. And this is it's a way that you almost are able to brag about what it is that you're doing, but you're doing it in a way that's just meant to be informational. You just share information of, hey, look at this house that was just sold. Oh yeah, I happen to sell it. That's kind of the way it is that the theme it is that you have behind this here. So look, that's about all the time it is that we've got for today. If you want to learn more about how to effectively market, how to effectively farm a neighborhood, how to prospect for business if you're not ready to start advertising yet, how to get your first sale, how to work with listing contracts, how to win a listing, how to give a listing presentation, you need to take post-licensing. Your pre-licensing course doesn't teach you that information. Your pre-licensing course is focused on laws and rules. Laws and rules are important to keep you out of jail, but they don't teach you how to make money. That's where your post-licensing course comes in. Your pre-licensing is all about passing the exam. Post-licensing, it's an entirely different animal. Yes, there is an end-of-course exam, but there's no state exam for it. And in this course, we've got this available both in classroom courses. We have limited classrooms available, so if you are interested in signing up for a classroom, call us right away, because the ones we have available are almost completely full right now, because we do have limited seating available in those. But we do also have a live stream format as well, where you could literally take your post-licensing course, watch it as if you're there in class with the instructor from anywhere in the world that you have an internet connection. So whether you're home, at your office, whatever the case may be, we ship you out a physical copy of the textbook, and you're going to learn about these real-world business concepts that are going to help you grow your real estate business. So if you're ready to sign up for that, call us 813-333-2676. Again, that's 813-333-2676. Did I mention this is a requirement that if you don't do this, you're going to lose your real estate license? Your post-licensing course, if that's not done by your first renewal, your license goes null and void. So not only does this help you grow your business, but it's actually required by the Florida Real Estate Commission. So you're going to have to do this course sooner or later. That's why we try to give you the best curriculum that's going to help you jumpstart your real estate business. So not only does this get the requirement knocked out, but it's actually going to give you the best chance of hitting the ground running, of giving you a lot of information that's going to give you a lot more knowledge of the steps that are needed to be taken to build a successful foundation of a real estate career. So again, call us 813-333-2676. If you don't even have your real estate license yet, we actually have got some great bundle packages to bundle your pre-licensing course with your post-licensing course, along with some of our study tools, so you're set to go through, pass your exam, and then learn the information you need to know to be able to monetize your real estate business. So that's your post-licensing course. Call us 813-333-2676 or check us out online at tampaschool.com. That's all the time we've got for today. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you next week.
The most powerful tool to study for your real estate exam is the Question Simulator from Tampa School of Real Estate. We've used our years of experience in preparing students for the Florida Real Estate exam to bring you the most powerful exam study tool available. In the Question Simulator, you'll be able to go directly to a particular unit so you can focus on the sections where you need the most practice. We have also included the percentages of each unit so you know which units are the most important for your real estate exam. Every question will immediately give you detailed feedback, which is almost always more important than the question or the answer themselves. After completing all the questions in a particular unit, you can go through question by question and review any that you've gotten wrong. You could also print out a report at the end of each quiz. The Question Simulator from Tampa School of Real Estate is 100% mobile compatible, so you can practice with test questions anywhere you have your phone with you. Enroll now at questionsimulator.com and get ready to pass your exam.
State of Real Estate. Every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time. Grow your real estate business. You're watching State of Real Estate. Have you completed your post-licensing education yet? Look, I know you're probably thinking, hey, it's not my renewal deadline, I don't need to do post-licensing yet, but look, here's why you want to do post-licensing as soon as you've got your real estate license, as soon as you're able to take post-licensing. It's not just another course about arbitrary laws that you're never going to use again. It's about real-world, usable topics that'll help you grow your real estate business, to help you take it to the next level. Look, let me ask you this one question. If this course helps you close just one deal, if you get one extra deal from post-licensing, is it worth the investment? I'd say it is. We get paid pretty well, so one deal means a lot of money. Check out postflorida.com. That's postflorida.com for the full details about post-licensing. State of Real Estate. Every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time. Grow your real estate business. You're watching State of Real Estate.